Hello, I'm super excited today to have Nikki Daruwala, the president and founder of NDpoint Strategies. Now, I met Nikki years ago when she was working with Land Literacy Council, and her company does consulting for nonprofits. And so she has been a member of our group since the very beginning almost. And I'm excited for everybody to hear from her. She is a lovely lady and has a wonderful story to tell. So good morning, Nikki, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Beatriz. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for all of the wonderful things you've been doing with our group. It's been fabulous to be part of it.
Yes, all the ladies are quite fun and caring towards each other. So what I wanted to start first with is if you could give us a little background on yourself, where you're from, how you came to the U.S., what made you decide to stay in the U.S., and then sort of transition into what made you decide to start your own business. As women business owners, that takes a lot of work and a lot of thinking, and so just walk us through that.
Sure. So I grew up in Bombay, India. It's now called Mumbai. It's on the west coast of India. I'm a city girl, so I grew up in the city. Love that. I did all of my high schooling there. And I had a very deep sense of curiosity. I was one of those kids that always wanted to know why or what, or, what's behind things. And I didn't really fit into the school model of, memorization and textbook learning that was very prominent in that time in India, how schooling was taking place. You memorize a whole bunch of things and you rattle it off. And that wasn't me. I wanted to sit with one little idea and explore it more. I was also very involved in philanthropy from a very young age. It was just something that my family always instilled in me. It was something that my family held very dear for a very long time. And I was also very independent. I was independent because both my parents worked, and they worked very long hours. And for mom to be working in those days in the 70s, 80s in India was not very common. But since both my parents worked long hours, I had to sort of, figure things out a lot on my own. And so it made me very independent. So it was sort of like all of those three things coming together made me sort of feel like, this is not where I want to be. And I got it in my head that I really wanted to study in the US. I felt like there were opportunities there for me to be who I wanted to be rather than, a family connection or things like that. And so that's when I decided that I wanted to come to the US for college. And that was in 1984. My dad had no interest in sending me over. It was a lot of internal pleasing and politicking by my mother and my grandmothers that made it happen. So that's when I came to the US in 84 for college. And why I stayed is primarily because of my husband now, because we met in college and we fell in love, and we've been married since. And we have two beautiful daughters and grown up, and that's what it was. And that's how I came here.
That is very interesting, and it happens a lot, right? That you come to the U.S. and meet somebody and stay because you get married. Now, tell us a little bit about how your thought process was and how you ended up owning your own business.
Yeah. So I had been working, nationally, internationally, globally, on many issues. That was sort of my area of, I've had several career areas. It starts with, labor rights, human rights, corporate responsibility, social investing, working on issues of child labor, equity, trafficking, all of those kinds of issues that I worked on. Worked on policy issues and things like that. And then I'd worked for many different organizations, all in that area of looking at my personal philosophy of what I believe to be right and the kind of society we wanted and how I was going to contribute towards it. Then in like 2014, I had like that aha moment. Most of us entrepreneurs talk about that aha moment. And for me, it was one of those moments where I felt like, I'm talking about global, I'm talking about California and this and that and the Midwest and the South and all of those things. But what's happening in Loudoun? I live in Loudoun. I've lived in Loudoun for like 20, almost 30 years. And I don't know anything about it other than the fact that my house is here, my kids go to school, I'm little involved with the schools and in the community, in the neighborhood, but I really don't know where I live, my own backyard, and I don't know it. And I'm talking about solving issues and helping organizations halfway across the world, but what about right here? And so that's when I started NDpoint Strategies. And NDpoint Strategies, the name I selected was primarily sort of a play on my initials, ND. So NDpoint Strategies. It's just sort of helping organizations. I like my tagline because it really helps people understand what I'm doing. It's solutions for accelerating social change. And so that's what really helped me sort of come to Loudoun. And after I started my business, I still continue to help organizations because I built a network across the country. So I was still helping nonprofits, across the country. But it wasn't until more recently and now where I'm 100% Loudoun. All my clients, I've got 8 clients, which is a little too much for me, and I need to start saying no at some point. But they're all Loudoun clients.
Can you tell me who your clients are or a little bit about them?
Yeah, so my clients do fabulous work. I think one person sort of talked to me about it and said, it's like and it was actually Doug Fabioli, if you know, from Fabioli Sellers, and I helped him with the ag school that he started. And when I met with him, he said something that still sits with me because I'd never saw it this way. He said, Nikki, you're an angel helping angels. And that's exactly what it is. I feel very honored to be called that, but my goal is to help the organizations locally. And they are organizations like you mentioned, Loudoun Literacy, helping them with their grant work and funding, or it's helping organizations which work with neurodivergent individuals like Legacy Farms. I work with Loudoun Laurels, which does fabulous work in the community. Several other organizations, those that help domestic violence and prevention issues. Interfaith organizations helping, social justice issues, soup kitchens, food banks, bunch of different organizations. I love them all because they do such good work and so much important work. So
yes, well, I agree with everything you said, and we all know how hard you work. I've seen you in action, so. Tell me a little bit about your family, your kids, your daughters. I know that you must be very proud of them. I know that you are proud of them.
I am extremely proud of my daughters. They are wonderful. They've grown into wonderful, independent, fabulous women. I love that I learn new things from them. I think that's that connection you get when you've got both of my daughters in their 20s. And I love that I learned so much from them. They're bringing ideas to me. They change my thinking every day on different things. And we love having debates and discussions about issues. My older daughter is in the Boston area. She's getting her PhD in art history. She loves working in the museum area. She's artistic, she's thoughtful, she's very creative, and she's very meticulous. I love everything about her. And my younger daughter is in Chicago, but getting ready this fall to move to Boston. She'll be starting. So they're both poles apart in that one is very arts and artistic, and the other one is very science and math kind of driven. And she's she's pursuing a medical career. So she's moving from Chicago to Boston to be able to start that. So both my girls will be up in Boston, which means lots of trips up there, I'm hoping, starting with the fall. So,
oh, wonderful. That sounds great. I wanted to mention, I learned so much about nonprofits from you. So Nikki was the executive director of Land Literacy when I joined the board, and she was a key person to help me understand nonprofits and the importance of good boards and the importance of not only just throwing money at but putting time behind that. And I was very impressed with her. I still am. I wanted to, just for the last minute, I wanted you to see if you could give us a little bit of your thoughts on our group, for those that are listening that may not be a member yet.
Yeah, oh gosh, if you're an immigrant businesswoman, this is the group for you. It's one where you feel camaraderie, you feel connected, because, as women, we already have and face a whole set of issues when we're starting our own business. But as immigrant businesswomen, we come at it with a whole other set of issues as well. I feel connected to the group. I love that we have lunches, we learn from each other, we grow together, we find meaning in helping out our community. There are things that sort of connect people. And, for me personally, my own business goal is to empower and equip my clients and to be better at what they do. And the learning that I get from other business women helps me take it, because nonprofits is a business. Running a nonprofit is a business in and of itself. It's a social business. And so I love that I have constant learning, constant connection, to be able to eat food from a variety of different countries, to be able to hear people mixing, language and dance and music and learning from each other is just so fabulous. And our group is, even though we've been doing it for so long, and I'm so grateful to you, Beatriz, for starting this and getting us going, but it is wonderful to be able to connect that way and make that connection. To me, it's like one of my primary connection groups in the community that helps me and keeps me going. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki, so much for those kind words. I do enjoy the group, and you're right. We use food because we like to go to authentic restaurants, and then whoever is from that country talks about the country while we eat their food. And so right. I've learned about, like when you took us to the Indian restaurant. See, I learned so much about India, just and the yummy food that they had, which I would have probably not gone to because I wouldn't have known what to order, right? And now I do.
Exactly.
I like it a lot. And all the ladies, bring in something to the group.
Exactly. And I think this is sort of the whole thing about, this beautiful tapestry that we're weaving in our community. Our immigrants, we are, no matter how long we've been in this country, or whether we're first generation, second generation, it doesn't matter. It's like we bring such diversity to the community, such some people have always talked about it like this beautiful tapestry. That I love jigsaw puzzles, and I do jigsaw puzzles. To me, it's like forming this beautiful puzzle where everybody is like this piece that you put together, and at the end, when you've put all those pieces together, it's this beautiful picture that forms that is appealing to people, that is meaningful. And I think that's what I love about our immigrant population, our communities, and just being so vibrant and being so loving and being such a force of economy in our community.
Yes, yes, you're right. That people do not realize the impact that immigrants have in the economy, and immigrant women, business owners that are immigrant women have a very strong um, um, say in our economy. But people sometimes don't know that. But I think our group is getting there. And I enjoy that between food and dance and music, we're learning about each other's differences and how much we are alike.
Exactly. And embracing it all in this day and age. It's something that brings us together, pulls us together, and makes us shine together, lifting each other up. I think this is what's important.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking time with us today. I'm excited to get this out on the webpage so everybody can see. Everybody in our group knows you pretty well, and we all love you. But I hope other people will get to see what a wonderful person you are. And I really appreciate your time, Nikki.
Love and appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikki.